And good evening. You're listening to Modern Mystic Radio on Ask One Psychic Radio Network, the world's number one psychic radio network. Now, I'm just going to tell you quickly a little bit about me, just in case you've never heard me, you don't know me. Well, I'm from the UK, as you've probably guessed. My name is Sarah. I've been working as a psychic for 27 years. Psychic as a child, work in a variety of different ways. I work as a psychic full time, and I also work on UK TV, as well as obviously host this show, Modern Mystic. Right, so I want to really get cracking today. I'm going to take two calls. And I also want to talk about a couple of things as well today. If you want to get hold of me outside of the show, my website is www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook, Modern Mystic, and I've got another Facebook page, Mystic Saira, so you can find out what I'm up to and how to book in with me as well. Right, so today what I want to talk about is a very interesting session that I had earlier this week on Sunday. And this was with a lady that had been spending quite a lot of time researching her family tree and on ancestry. And so she'd been going through that, but she'd become pretty much obsessed with this whole task, and really not resting until she'd uncovered absolutely everything within her family tree. And as she did this, she uncovered quite a few sort of secrets. A case of children and fathers going missing and all sorts of different things. Now, she became particularly obsessed with her great-grandmother and her story. And she did so much digging. She's done an absolutely fabulous job. It's taken her over 2 years to do this. And she found actually that her great-grandmother she was buried in an unmarked grave. So she's absolutely appalled by this and, sorted that out. And now she feels like she can rest. But what actually struck me as I was doing this lady's reading is that by her going through her ancestry and going through and connecting with on a mental level all of those ancestors from years gone by, she had inadvertently been doing almost like ancestral healing. Okay, now this is where we need to really go deep within. So maybe if it's the case that you've had blocks that you can't quite work out where they've come from, it may very well be coming from your ancestral line. So by healing your ancestral line, you can therefore heal yourself. Now, we're coming up to, on Saturday, I believe, is a full moon, and this full moon is in Virgo. Okay, now full moons are incredible, in terms of being able to manifest and really cast your intentions out. With the full moon and new moon energies, we can actually harness that lovely energy that we have being given to us by the moon to manifest our desires. Now, Virgo is all about work. It's about health. It's about healing. So if that's something that you want to do, you want to heal your ancestral line, maybe use the power of this Virgo moon that we have on Saturday to do that. So how do you use the moon for manifestation or for any other purpose? The way in which I do it is that I find out what cycle or what star sign the moon is actually in. This time it's in Virgo, and I find out what the corresponding candle colour is. With Virgo, we are looking at either grey or we can use gold, if you want a stronger vibration there. So you can look at actually manifesting. What you do with the moon, you look at what areas it governs, and then you can look at actually how you can utilise that in your own life. So with Virgo, we're looking at sort of healing, maybe deeper healing here, or maybe even the work area. Okay, so what you would do, you sit there and you think carefully about your intentions and what you would like to manifest. And what I do is I just etch it on the candle. And what some people do is they call it anointing their candle. That's using an oil with maybe some essential oils added to that. And the way in which you do it is you rub the oil from middle to top, then middle to bottom, all around the candle. That's how you anoint a candle. Then what you do is you light the candle, meditate, and set your intentions. I tend to use quite small candles, so they're not sat there burning for hours and hours and hours, but that's entirely up to you. You don't want to do that, and just simply meditating and setting your intentions is absolutely fine. So on with the ancestry element. Now, I myself, I've had to go back and heal many aspects of my past, and looking at my family's history as well, sort of going back and connecting there with, my elders, my grandfathers, my grandmothers, and so on and so forth. Now, you don't have to physically do that. It simply is the intention of doing that. And what you find here within any kind of deep healing work, because that's another area that I work. I'm not just a psychic, but I'm also a healer as well. So what I can do actually within a healing session is actually look at what's going on down the line, in times gone by, and clear that for you. So that's another area that you can do that. Maybe look at you doing that yourself, and seeing if there's any kind of pattern that's within your family. Now, it's particularly useful when we're looking at a particular block, such as, say, for instance, you've got a big money block. I know with a lot of sort of self-help and manifestation things, we have to ask, what is our parents' view of money, etc., etc. But maybe you need to go further back than your parents, and what is your grandparents and great-grandparents' ability to manifest there. Maybe you need to go a little bit further down the line. Now, I believe I have my first caller, and we have Deborah from Tucson in Arizona. Hi, Deborah. How are you? Oh, Tucson.
Fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for calling in. It's an absolute pleasure. Do you have a question for me, Deborah?
Well, yeah, I do. I've been thinking about this for a while, and all my life I've always felt creative, and thought of ideas that are kind of artsy and stuff, but I can never actually get down and do anything. I'll put a pencil in my hand and have a sketch pad, and nothing comes out. But I feel like it's inside of me, and I don't know where the block comes from. I don't know if it's from past life or something I've done.
Right.
Or...
Let's just have a look. I'm just going to put out a few cards for you. I feel actually the creativity is actually coming here from your past life. And let's just have a look here. I just want to see whether the block is actually coming from the past life as well. Okay, right, let's just see what I've got here for you. Okay, right, I'm just tuning into your cards, and I feel like I am tuning into a past life. Now, this was, I feel like it's almost like similar to where you are at the moment, in the sense of what I get with this past life. It's almost like you had a choice or a decision to make around your creativity. Do you do your creative side, or do you go on more the practical route, which is what I feel like you were faced with in a previous life? Now, in that life, I feel here that you were forced to go down the more practical route, for need, if that makes sense. So you had to kind of put that creative element to one side. So it's almost like that lifetime you actually spent burying your creativity and subduing it, okay? And I feel like this time round, it's almost like you've got to kind of almost like go the opposite way, and delve right into that creative element here, and action it, basically. It's like something that's been buried there for a very, very long time, and you need to action it. Now, I do have my past life cards here as well, so I just want to see what I get for you with these. Let's just have a look. I'm just going to shuffle them very, very quickly, and let's just see what I get in terms of the area maybe that you were living in during that lifetime, so it can help you to kind of connect to it. Oh, interesting. Right. So we have here wars and battles. Okay, wars and battles. So I feel that even though you are a highly creative person, in that life, I feel here that you're in a situation where you have to go and fight instead of being creative. And as I tune into that life, I feel that that lifetime may have actually finished much earlier than was natural, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I does that make sense to you? So I don't know whether you felt like you've been in conflict, a lot within your life. But I feel very much this element of wars and battles here is what actually took you away from that wonderful creative side. Okay. Now I'm just going to tune in a little bit more into your energy in terms of being able to move you forwards, so you can break free from that block. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's just see what I get with this, because I just feel, okay, strange. I wasn't even thinking of this card. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay, so we've got the Moon card here. Now, let's have a look at this. So this gives me the concept here of tapping in to your subconscious. Okay, and obviously this is the creative area as well, but more so tapping into your dream world. So before you go to sleep at night, literally ask your subconscious to enable you to remove the block that's on your creativity, and see what comes through within your dreams. I'm also being inclined to suggest that with the energy of this full moon, which is in Virgo, which is about healing, as well. I feel that you can put that intention that you want that block removed. I'm just trying to think of the words that you may need to use for this. So let me just tune into that. I want to say free creativity, free, just those two words, free creativity. Because I feel very much that will enable you. And then obviously the next obstacle or the next challenge is to get on and actually put some of that creative stuff to start to actually work with it. Okay, does that make sense? To maybe do your first drawing or do your first piece of work. I feel like you are incredibly talented, and I also feel that I want to say the images. So is it drawing that you do mainly? Hello? Hi, can you hear me?
I can now, yes, thank you.
Yeah. So is it drawing that you do mainly?
It's what I try to do. I have the coloring books and the pencils and the markers and all that. I can do that, but just to sit and draw something myself, it's hard to do.
I feel here, I feel like that block is kind of standing in the way. But by releasing that block, but sometimes being aware of what the block is enough to actually shift the consciousness and help you to break through that barrier. But I feel like when you actually get started, what you are going to do is, I feel like a lot of the work is almost going to be very much from the heart. And maybe even what I'm being told here is actually sketching maybe some of the memories from that previous life, or some of the visions that person had. I get quite a strong male element actually with that lifetime. So in that lifetime, I think I do feel that you were male, but I feel that this is something that you can now overcome. I'm just going to pull one more card out for you, just to see what we have. Okay, and I actually feel here that I want to say display the work, because I feel like somebody's going to see it, and I feel like you could possibly, make something out of this as well. So it's not just going to be a hobby. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So thank you very much for calling through.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
All right. You take.
Have a blessed
All right.
evening.
You take. Oh, thank you. You take care. Okay, and off she goes. That was Deborah from Tucson in Arizona. Okay, we have another caller here. We have Wanda from Albany in Georgia. Hi, Wanda. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. And you?
I'm really well, thank you. Thank you for asking. Right, do you have a question for me?
Yes, I have a question. My question is, I want to know if my husband knows my secret.
Can you just repeat that? You want to know if your husband knows
My secret.
your secret, if your husband knows your secret. Right, okay, let's have a look here. Right, I'm just going to pull some cards out for you, and let's just see what I get with this. Okay. Right, okay. So with this, I feel like he suspects something, but he doesn't know all of the details. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel, like I said, it's almost like I get a suspicion or around it, but not all of the facts. And I feel that there is going to be a discussion between you two. Has he been asking any questions here?
No.
Not yet. Okay.
Not at all.
Well, I feel with this, I feel like there are going to be questions being raised, because like I said, I can see a discussion here. But I also feel that, how can I put it? It's almost like if you box clever, don't fall into the trap of spilling the beans if you don't want to. Does that make sense? I feel like the ball's very much in your court. So I don't feel that he knows your secret, but don't, how can I put it? Don't inadvertently end up telling him. Does that make sense if you don't want to?
Yes.
Yeah, because what I get with this is you're being told here to stand still, to not do anything, if that makes sense. So just to stop for a moment. No action is to be taken right at this moment, but I feel like there is a suspicion here, or he seems to be picking up on something, or he will be picking up on something. Now, I'm looking at the cards here, and as I look at them, I get the feeling that if he was to find out, he wouldn't be very happy. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So this is why I feel it's almost like the cards are trying to, make you aware here that there's a conversation coming, that it might seem as though he knows a lot more than he does, but he doesn't. Okay, so just remember that, and I feel here that you will be able to kind of keep your secret, if you like, to yourself. Just pulling out some more cards here. I also feel here that you have been toying with the idea of of when to tell him yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, I want to.
Sorry, can you say that again for me?
I want to, but I'm afraid.
Okay, yeah. Let's have a look here. I get quite a lot of soul searching here with this particular question here. And I'm just sort of, let me just sort of really tune into this, because I feel that eventually you are going to have to say something here. I want to shuffle the cards and I want to see what the outcome will be. Now, I still feel that he's not going to be happy about this, but I feel like the timing isn't right to tell him just yet. I want to say the month of May feels a little bit stronger here for you. So I feel like you need to wait it out until then. And then I feel like you are going to, it's definitely, how can I put it? It's definitely coming from your lips. When he does find out fully, it's coming from your lips. So it's not coming from anywhere else. Okay. So I feel very much you are going to be in control of the situation. I feel also, I don't know, there's almost like a vibe that you're picking up at the moment, because I feel like you're very intuitive. You're very, very intuitive, and I feel almost like you're picking up a vibe here that he may know, and you're very defensive about that. Does that make sense? Now, it's very important. This is what my guides are saying to me. It's very important that you how can I put it? You don't put the spotlight on yourself. Does that make sense? By being too defensive. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. So you're being told here to, take a deep breath, take some calm, get yourself a nice calm state here, because I don't feel that he knows at the moment, So I feel like you're safe in that respect. But when you do, I feel like you will time it just right. Okay. So no, he's not going to be thrilled. But I do feel here that, you'll be in full control of the situation when you do decide to tell him. Okay?
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
What will the outcome be?
Okay, I'll have a quick look at that for you. See, I actually feel like the outcome, I get a happy outcome here for you with this. So as I'm looking at this, I want to say what you feel to be the best possible outcome here. Maybe even the element of forgiveness or walking away. I get one of those. I get those two options here: forgiveness or walking away. I feel like that is going to be the outcome for you. But it's very important that you play this one quite carefully. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for calling through. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Okay, and off she goes. And so you've seen me how I work. If you want to get hold of me, it's quite easy. Just visit the website www.modern-mystic.co.uk. Or you can watch me on Psychic Today, which is on Sky Channel 886 in the UK. And of course, I'll be back here same time next week. And I'm also on Facebook under Modern Mystic and also Mystic Saira. So for now, I'm going to wish you a very, very pleasant evening, a wonderful week ahead. I hope you enjoy the full moon energy, and I'm going to wish you absolute love and light, and I shall see you again and speak to you again next week. Goodbye for now.